Let's start with a cult that took getting the latest Nikes way too seriously. Heaven's Gate, founded by Marshall Applewhite, aka Do, believed that the Earth was about to be recycled, and the only way to survive was to leave their human vessels behind and hitch a ride on a spaceship trailing the Hale-Bopp comet. I hope I pronounced that right. In March 1997, 39 members, including Applewhite, got dressed in matching outfits complete with Nike decades and armbands that read Heaven's Gate away team. And then they left their pathetic human bodies to transcend the physical and dissolve into the universe. Or that's what they believed at least. So what's on the shopping list for our ascension to the next level? Let's see. Matching tracksuits, purple trousers, and Nike decades. Nike decades? Are those the new limited editions? Yeah, Do says they're essential for boarding the spacecraft. Are these for a basketball team or... No, they're for leaving our human containers to join an alien spacecraft hiding behind the comet. So will you be needing socks with those? So what could possibly be good about a cult that convinced people to unalive themselves for a cosmic Uber that never showed up? Well, for one thing, Heaven's Gate was surprisingly tech-savvy for a 19th apocalyptic cult. They were early adopters of the internet and actually ran a successful web design company called HireSource. Their website design business was legitimately good. Like, they had actual paying clients who had no idea they were funding a group that believed humans were just containers for alien souls. Hi, HireSource. Yes, my website is down again, can you fix it? Sorry, we've shut our earthly containers to join an evolutionary level above human. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Is this going to affect my launch date? Time is an illusion of human existence. But yes, we'll have it fixed by Tuesday. But the weirdest part, their original Heaven's Gate website from 1997 is still online and maintained by 2 surviving members. And now that's some real commitment, hey? Even in dev they had better uptime than most major corporations. So the good thing, there were surprisingly ethical business owners who delivered quality work on time. Cult members were known for being reliable and honest workers who actually delivered what they promised. Unlike, you know, every freelancer I've hired on Fiverr. While Heaven's Gate left a nostalgic website as their legacy, the next cult left a little more messed up legacy. Meet Jim Jones, the guy who gave us the phrase drinking the Kool-Aid, which is like the worst thing to be remembered by, to be honest. He was the leader of the People's Temple, which started as a progressive church in 1950s. He immediately became the rising star by advocating for the poor and marginalized, until he went on a villain arc. As Jim's cult grew, he became more and more abusive and controlling, kind of like my ex. All 900 of his members were forced to move to a remote jungle just so Jim could roleplay a paranoid dictator and his little obedient cult. His last order was for everyone to drink cyanide-laced Flavor Aid, which was later misreported as Kool-Aid. I bet Flavor Aid's marketing team breathed a huge sigh of relief when everyone got that detail wrong. So what possible redeeming quality could the People's Temple have? Believe it or not, before the whole let's move to the jungle and create a utopia that will definitely not end in mass murder arc, Jonas's organization was extremely progressive on racial integration. The People's Temple was one of the first racially integrated churches in Indiana during the 1950s and actively fought against segregation. Jim Jones adopted children of different races and created one of the most diverse congregations of its time. Jones even appointed black people in leadership positions in his church at a time when that was practically unheard of. Did you hear that new church down on Main Street? They're letting colored folk sit with the whites. What kind of commie nonsense is that? That's not even the worst part. Their leader, Jim Jones, he's got the craziest ideas. He thinks people of all races should be treated equally. Good lord, what's next? Women voting? They already can vote, Errol. Since when? Since 1920. What a world. At least Jim Jones won't last long with those radical ideas. Next time, maybe, just maybe, let's find a way to fight racism without forcing people to drink poison, yeah? If you thought we had already reached peak insanity, oh you sweet summer child, because our next cult would make the previous 2 look like a kindergarten. Let's talk about the Aum Shinrikyo, founded by Shoko Asahara, your average know-it-all dude who thinks he's always right. Immediately he proclaimed himself a Christ, predicted that the US would destroy Japan, and only his followers would survive the attack. Honestly, he would be an amazing TikTok influencer these days. The cult that couldn't decide their values, so they decided not to limit themselves and threw in Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Nostradamus' predictions, doomsday prophecies, and a sprinkle of Star Wars fanfiction. So, are you interested in joining our spiritual movement? Maybe. What do you guys believe? Well, our leader is simultaneously Jesus, Buddha, and a psychic. We meditate, practice yoga, and occasionally develop weapons of mass destruction. Wait, what was that last part? Yoga? No, the one after that. Oh, the weapons of mass destruction. That's just a precaution for the coming apocalypse. That's part of our premium membership plan. They are responsible for the terrible case in Tokyo's subway. In 1995, they spread sarin gas, killing 13 people and injuring thousands. So what could possibly be good about a cult that released nerve gas in a subway? Well, they were actually serious about environmental protection, before they went full let's speed up the apocalypse mode. Shinrikyo advocated strongly for environmental conservation and sustainable living. They criticized consumerism and promoted a lifestyle that minimized harm to the environment. Members were vegetarian and lived communally to reduce their carbon footprint. Somehow spreading sarin gas was totally okay in their minds. We need to protect the environment. The earth is dying. Yes, we should reduce our carbon footprint. And go vegetarian and release deadly nerve gas in a crowded subway. Let's put a pin in that last idea and circle back to it later. Though I think we can all agree that releasing sarin gas kind of cancels out any environmental brownie points they might have earned. Maybe try, I don't know, composting instead of chemical warfare next time. Now let's talk about love. Because love is so nice, right? Right? Our next cult, the Children of God, later known as the Family International, founded by David Burke in the late 1960s. I'm going to tread carefully here, because this cult was known for some truly horrific practices, particularly involving children. If you know, you know. If you don't, consider yourself lucky. Burke called himself Moses David and thought that God's love could be expressed through sexual activity. This led to a practice called flirtification, where female members would use sex to recruit new members. What blows my mind even more is that they had thousands of followers. Don't even get me started on how many of them suffered from STDs and other illnesses. But they actually slapped with music. Their band, Music with Meaning, dropped folk rock tracks that were actually decent. Some former members who escaped the cult went on to have legitimate music careers. The most famous example is the Phoenix family. Yes, that Phoenix family. Now that's some glow up, huh? Joaquin Phoenix and his late brother River Phoenix were born into this mess before their parents left when they were young. Imagine how far they would have come if they just spent more time on music instead of sex games. Oh yes, another day, another guy who thinks he's God's chosen one. David Koresh, who claimed to be the final prophet, interpreting Revelation to mean he would usher in the end times. The leader of the Branch Davidians, the cult infamous for the Waco siege in 1993, that ended with a 51-day standoff with the FBI and the ATF, resulting in a fire that killed 67 people, including Koresh and his kids. Oh, and to add some gasoline, pun intended, David also practiced spiritual marriages with multiple women, including underage girls, and built up an arsenal of weapons at their compound in Waco, Texas. Not great, David, not great. But, and this might sound weird, they were actually amazing gardeners and extremely self-sufficient. The Branch Davidians created an impressive sustainable compound, where they grew most of their own food and lived almost entirely off the grid. They practiced impressive water conservation techniques, had extensive gardens, and were experts on preserving food. If they had just stuck to posting artsy photos of their homegrown tomatoes, instead of stockpiling illegal weapons, maybe they would have a successful YouTube channel today instead of a fiery place in history books. These tomatoes are coming along nicely. The irrigation system you designed is really efficient, and our solar power setup is generating enough electricity for the whole compound. David, the ATF is here about all those illegal weapons. Why couldn't they come to see our sustainable garden instead? To be fair, you did spend a lot more time on guns than tomato plants. Not helping, Steve. Unlike good old farmers, our next cult screamed luxurious. Rajneesh Puram, founded by Bhagwan Shri Rajneesh, later called Osho. This cult became famous for owning 93 Rolls Royces, because inner peace is best achieved with leather seats and a V8 engine, wearing all red, meditating, and, oh yeah, committing the largest bioterror attack in US history. In 1984, they poisoned the local salad bars with salmonella to rig an election. 741 people got sick. Later they busted thousands of homeless people to register them as voters, and committed multiple assassination attempts on political figures. But all their attempts failed, so their leader left the US and went back to India to write esoteric books about love and meditation. What a lovely man. So what was good about the Rajneeshis? They were actually pioneers in therapeutic techniques and psychological practices that are still used today. Many of their meditation methods and therapy approaches have been adapted and incorporated into mainstream wellness programs. The Rajneeshis combined Eastern mysticism with Western psychology in ways that were genuinely innovative. Their dynamic meditation technique, which involves intense physical activity followed by stillness, is still practiced worldwide. It's too bad they didn't channel that energy into some more peaceful actions, like at least becoming self-help gurus instead of poisoning people. Also, they built an entire self-sufficient city in the middle of nowhere in just a few years, complete with its own power generation, water systems, and infrastructure. They would be amazing in building redstone mechanisms in Minecraft. Say what you will about their methods, but their engineering and planning skills were impressive. Despite all of this, poisoning people's cells is usually frowned upon in wellness circles. And finally, let's talk about the cult that's definitely not a cult, but a religion according to their very expensive lawyers, who are probably watching this video right now. Scientology. Founded by science fiction writer Ron Hubbard, Scientology believes that humans are immortal spiritual beings called Thetans, who have forgotten their true nature and are harmed by past trauma stored in their reactive minds. Honestly, sounds kind of right when you see all of those depressed kids on TikTok. They're known for charging members massive amounts of money to progress through levels, disconnecting members from suppressive persons, like family members who say, "Hey, this seems like a cult," and pursuing critics with litigation that would make a patent troll blush. Sir, would you like to take a free personality test? Sure, what's involved? Just a few simple questions to identify your Thetans. My what? Your Thetans, the alien spirits attached to your soul. Alien spirits? Did I say alien spirits? I meant stress factors. You definitely said alien spirits. Hey, we have a suppressive person situation at the entrance. You know what, I think I'll pass on the test. Too late, Tom Cruise is already on his way. So what could possibly be good about this money-sucking scheme, except for having Tom Cruise in it? Well, their anti-drug program, Narconon, has actually helped some people overcome addiction. While controversial and not based on mainstream medical practices, there are people who credit the program with helping them get clean. Allegedly. Also, Scientology's Celebrity Center concept was kind of brilliant from a marketing perspective. By targeting celebrities specifically, they created a powerful recruitment and PR tool. You've got to admire this strategy even if you don't like the product they're selling. Though maybe don't make people pay thousands of dollars to learn about Xenu and the Galactic Federation. Just a thought. So if you're thinking of joining a group and they ask you to give them all your money, cut ties with your family, believe their leader is the chosen one, and drink anything that's been premixed for you, maybe don't? Hit subscribe and I promise you I won't make you wear matching Nikes or move to a compound. Though if you want to buy me 93 Rolls Royces, I wouldn't say no.